And for instance, from OASIS Consultants, and we are preferred all-in-one implementation partner of SAP. More specifically, we are specialized in implementing the facility solution of SAP. Today we will cover the following topics. First of all, I want to share with you the challenges of facility management, then the facility management solution, and we call it Estate to Run. And then finally, you will see also that we have put a lot of print screens in this presentation just to have a look and feel of the SAP solution. First of all, the challenges of facility management. You as facility manager, you are able to see all your buildings, all your plans, what are the architectural changes in your buildings, on the floors, in the meeting rooms. You want to have an accurate planning of the maintenance activities, but you are not only doing the maintenance activities yourself, but most of the time you are also subcontracting the services. What you also want to do is do the follow-up of your maintenance costs. Ideally, you have in your office most of the time CAD programs like AutoCAD, but SolidWorks, Solid Edge is also possible. And you want to integrate, on one hand, the AutoCAD design, and on the other hand, also the SAP information about the buildings, about the floors. You want also to have a view of the inventory management. When you have to do facility management activities, you need sometimes spare parts, but you need to know in advance if those spare parts are available or not. You will receive also invoices from suppliers, but you wanted also to charge those maintenance activities, the costing of those maintenance activities to other departments. And then finally, if you need that, you need some extra functionalities like room reservation, key management, fleet management, and also cable and telecom, because also there you need to have a view of the buildings. You need to install cable and telecom, for example. Now we will go to the solution that SAP is providing. In a department of facility management, you always see two types of users. On one hand, you have the facility managers organizing the maintenance activities, organizing, for example, refurbishment. Those are the power users. They will use the NetWeaver business client. And you see here a screen where you have the different tabs that you will use. On the other hand, we have also occasional users. I can be an occasional user entering a room and see that the beamer is not working. So what I have to do is send a notification to the maintenance desk and say, okay, in that room, the beamer is not working. I'm an occasional user because that is not happening every day. I hope so. So I will log in on the intranet or internet and send a notification. Now the facility management solution is built up different components. Centrally, you see there real estate management. Real estate management is a module in SAP comprising all the complex information, the building information. You can even also put in the system land information. You can use also rental units. For example, a room can be a rental unit. You can manage different contracts, namely supplier contracts, but also rental contracts. And finally, there is also part space management. It's more the architectural view of a building. And you see there different links to other functional domains. I will start with materials management. It's logic that sometime you do a change of a building. Therefore, you need some resources. It can be materials. For example, I need a new roof. Well, I will contact a supplier delivering the new roof. Therefore, you need also not only the supplier, not only the services, but also materials. I have to change the beamer. Well, the beamer is a material. I can contact therefore or a supplier or an internal person to install the beamer. The other hand, you have assets management. Asset management, normally a building is an asset in accounting. So there you see also when I create a building in real estate management, automatically it will create an asset in the accounting. You see also PS, project system. Project system is for big, huge interventions. So, for example, you want to build a new building, then you have different tasks. Well, all those tasks, you can put them in the SAP system and also put their task related to a cost, but also who will execute that task. Will that be done internally or will that be done by a supplier? Then the most important one is plant maintenance. Maintenance, it's the maintenance, it's interventions, it's really facility management. I have to install, for example, a new beamer in a room, or I have to put new keys in a room, or I have to put a new floor in a room. That are all maintenance tasks. All those tasks, maintenance tasks and project tasks, have a certain cost, and the certain cost that is covered by, on one side, cost centers, so you book the cost on the cost centers, and then on the other hand, if you want to rent a room, you will have also profits. And finally, we have the normal accounting, where you will receive, on one hand, invoices of suppliers, but also you will have receivables when you rent, for example, a room. So an external company can, for example, rent a room in your building. They will be charged at a certain rate, and that revenue is put into the accounting part. So as you see, this is a total solution, mainly focused on real estate management, because there you will identify the buildings and the land and the floors and the rooms, and on the other hand, all the other domains linked to it. Now, real estate or space management, you have different usage of real estate management. On one hand, you can have rental objects. That's where you have lease-in and lease-out contracts, so rental contracts. On the other hand, real estate is also used to have a view on the architectural objects, so a floor plan, a layout of the room, and certain reservations. Naturally, those two are linked to each other. This is the screen, the main screen of real estate, and it's called the Real Estate Navigator. And as you can see on the left side, you see on one hand the building, and thereunder you can structure your, for example, your rooms. So you can specify, I have one building, I have, for example, 4 floors, and I have per floor 10 rooms. All those rooms are described in detail, and you can have a lot of information, the object type, the link to the plan, for example, but you have also the usage of that room. Some rooms can be meeting rooms, some rooms will be a server room, for example, so you can also identify the type. So mainly the user of facility management is using one screen. You have in the Real Estate Navigator per room or per building, you have a lot of tabs, we call them, tabs containing different information. For example, the general data is giving the information like the address of the building, who is owning, what is the availability of that room. The reference factors are mainly measurements and square meters, and if, for example, the room is divided into 2, then we divide also the square meters. Then we have infrastructure data, what is in the room, for example, what kind of equipment is in the room. The more specific measurements, but other measurements, for example, do I have 4 windows in that room, and all those characteristics. Then we have some counting information, and we have also the architectural view, and that is the link to the floor plan in AutoCAD or SolidWorks Solid Edge. Now, what is important here is that real estate, the building itself, is linked to maintenance tasks at the end. And to make that link, we call them functional locations. I give an example. You have a room on a floor. The floor can be the rental unit, but on the other hand, the room can be a functional location, because there you specify that you have one beamer, for example, one flip chart, and other equipment. Normally, we identify on one side the rental object or the architectural object is a one-to-one relationship with the functional location. It's much better to manage that in such a way.